Good afternoon, everybody. I see that all of my fellow members of Western New York Power Proceeds Allocation Board appear to be connected, although I guess I'm looking at blank screens right now or icons of their phones or their initials. There we go. A couple more people are popping up. Welcome, Dennis. I'd like to welcome you all to this meeting of the board and welcome our ESD as well as NIPA staff. This board meeting, as you know, scheduled in accordance with the New York Open Meetings Law. There was a proposed agenda that was circulated to our group of board members. I don't believe that there are any changes to that, but I'll pause for a moment and ask as you speak, if you wouldn't mind, just identifying yourself, because right now the only member of the board that I can see other than myself is Dennis. I guess everyone else has turned the video off. If it's because you have COVID hair, we don't care. We'd rather see your smile. Hearing no changes to the agenda, I would therefore take a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
I make a motion.
Who is that?
Paul Brown.
Okay. Paul, second.
Miskin, second.
Okay, thank you. Paul. Raise your hand. Aye, say something. Everybody?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstentions? Karen, I believe that was unanimous. Okay, before we get on with our substantive business, as you know, we typically will, at the beginning of each meeting, announce that staff has conferred with each of our members and confirmed that there haven't been any conflicts of interest. I believe it has been done already before today, but in the effort to be as transparent as possible, I want to make sure that we're still up to date on that. So given that we have one application today, I believe it is AI hold on one second, I'll get the exact name of it right from my agenda. It is Change.ai Inc., DBA High Operator. Can you just let me know whether any of you have a conflict of interest that has manifested itself since you were able to disclose same to the staff? Hearing nothing, I'll assume that we don't, or I would like to move on. The meeting minutes for our October 2, 2019 minute were sent to you. I'm assuming you all had a chance to review them. Are there any changes or corrections to those minutes?
No.
Hearing none. Pardon me? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Brenda McDuffie, I'll approve the minutes as presented, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Brenda. Do I have a second? Dennis.
Paul Brown seconds.
Paul seconded. Very good. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Appears as if the minutes have passed unanimously, Karen.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Among other things, one of the things we distributed was our meeting dates for 2020. And if you look carefully at those, you'll note that we have, in fact, passed the halfway point. There are 2 meetings remaining this year, one in August and one in October. I would like to call for a motion approving the proposed meeting schedule.
It's moved.
So moved.
Dennis? Second?
Second.
Sounds like Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Sounds unanimous again, Karen. Okay. Given all that very important business, I would like to ask Mr. Smith if he wouldn't mind giving us an update on the fund balance. Mr. Smith, it appears that you have frozen. Well, I guess we have to wait for him because the application is likewise going to be presented by him, and those are the only 2 remaining bits of business before we move to adjourn. So, Richard, yes.
Okay.
So, will you give us a fund update?
Okay. Apologies for
No worries.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, you have in your packets the fund update report through April of 2020. I'd like to review that with you now, and I'll give you a moment just to locate that in your packets.
Carry on, Richard.
Total deposits, thank you. Total deposits to date amounts to $41,746,000. Earned on deposits to date amounts to $763,052, making total funds deposited equal to $42,509,052. Expenditures. There has been zero administrative expenses withdrawn from the account through April of 2020. Disbursements to grantees amounts to $34,370,063, making the current fund balance equal to $8,138,989. Awards, there has been 35,000.
So I'm assuming you're familiar with it. Are there any questions in relation to that document? Hearing none, we'd have to take no action on that, so we will just merely record that the report was given and move on to the next agenda item. It being the award of benefits from the Western New York Economic Development Fund in round 25. And I'd like to ask Richard to continue to take the floor and explain to us staff's recommendation with respect to this particular award.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Staff is recommending that award of $230,000 to change EBA high operator relocate business to the 27th floor of Buffalo to accommodate a business expansion. Change AI Inc. was a corporation in 2016 by current CEO Elizabeth Tsai. High operator is a third-party provider that offers a comprehensive solution to customer service. The company uses application programming interface to fully integrate back-end processing of customer service requests with human interaction on the front end to ensure a satisfactory transaction. This dramatically reduces service rep training and process times and increases processing accuracy. Integrating and profit margins. The product would allow the applicant to become Service Organization Control, which is SOC 2, and Payment Card Industry, and add 131 new. Obtaining the digital security credentials would position the applicant to compete for business from larger enterprises and finance companies. The 27th floor of One Seneca Tower has been unoccupied for approximately 8 years and requires a complete gutting, including IT, wireless network equipment, and furniture. Several aspects of this project support a recommendation favoring a fund benefit award. A project funding gap is apparent due to the company's availability of debt and equity resources. The award would support a 2018 43 North Award winner that appears to have made a commitment to the Western New York region. An award would support the creation of. It's important to note that % of the and also the grounds for the advancement in the technology sector. An award would support efforts to repurpose One Seneca Tower as a technology and innovation hub. And lastly, the project aligns well with Western New York REDC strategies and priorities, for fostering a culture of entrepreneurship, investing in downtowns, and cultivating the Western New York talent pool, including the unemployed and underemployed. Any questions that the board may have?
Before I open the floor for questions, I just want to make note that staff has spent with each board members reviewing these matters, meeting, sharing materials from a part of the record, and notwithstanding the lack of quality in the audio presentation, all of the substantive facts on which the decision board will be made have ordered in documents that will become a part of the record and be available to the public. With that, I will open the floor for questions to Mr. Smith with respect to the presentation he just made.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Brenda.
Given the current COVID pandemic that we're experiencing, will that impact the plans of the company? I know it's a 5-year period in which they are expecting their expansion to take place, but how in this environment, if at all, will this impact them?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, High Operator is considered an essential business. They can count among their customers a bank. So their business has not been impacted significantly by the pandemic. In fact, they're actually considering another expansion already.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Can I ask a question? This is Paul Brown.
Of course.
Not the business, ignore the business, but are we going to be setting a precedent that if somebody wants some construction done on a floor that we got to give them $250,000? Because the same guy who owns the Seneca Tower just bought the Hilton, so we could actually spend our whole fund putting companies in his places.
Right. So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, yep, go ahead.
And staff would have to evaluate the application as it would any other business to determine whether it meets the priorities of the Regional Economic Development Council. And then they would make
but they all would, right? Why wouldn't they? It's the same project. If this guy's on floor, say this guy's on floor 24, and some guy was on floor 25, and they say, we'll just go to the power proceeds, you can get $250,000, why wouldn't he do that?
Well, since our job is to spend money on economic development, if it meets our qualifications for that, why wouldn't we want to?
Well, I'm just saying the guy's kind of funding his buildings through the power proceeds. I guess I just want to know if that's what we want to do. That's all I'm asking, Tony. I don't mind doing it. I just want to know if that's what we're doing.
So one of the, if I may, Mr. Chairman, one of the precautions that we try to take here, Paul, is
Richard, can you hear me? It would be a lot easier to computer and called in on your cell phone.
I know that we're waiting for Rich to come back onto the call. Hello?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
This is Brenda McDuffie speaking, but I know that in the disbursement terms, it specifically indicates that these funds would be used for IT equipment and office furnishing. It did not indicate that this would be used to gut the building or really create the space. That's part of the entire project. But these funds specifically it says in our description, would be used for the equipment and office furniture, which probably, and we disperse them after they have been purchased. So I don't know what kind of security or lien the state has relative to the price of those items. But it seems to me that, that would give, that would potentially help to answer Paul's question. It's not going to be used for the renovation.
Oh, no, it says right in there for the renovation. It has asbestos removal, which I didn't even know there was asbestos on that job, but who cares? No, they listed all that right down there.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying if you look at the.
I'd actually have a problem with $250,000 for office furniture, to be honest with you.
No, it's IT equipment and office furniture. That's what's in our summary. I'm just repeating what's in our summary. It said the fund
And
benefit
it kind of
would be
listed a
used
lot of,
for that purpose.
well, that's an awful lot of IT and office furniture, $250,000, don't you think?
Well,
Not really,
have-
Paul.
No.
Yeah, really.
Computer
For 130
switch.
people?
Well, they have
Anyway,
common
I don't
sense.
care. Listen, this is my point. I don't think it says that, but I'm not on my computer, so I can't look it up.
Well, look it up in the.
I don't have a problem with the project. To be clear, I don't have a problem with the project. My problem is, I don't know if we're okay with the landlord saying, look, if you rent my office space, you can get $250,000 from the power proceeds. That's my problem. I don't know if that's a precedent we're setting or not. That's all I want to know. If it is and we want to do it, I'm fine with it. I just want to know.
I don't consider what we're doing here precedential, Paul. I think we'll evaluate each application on merits and based upon it, an independent evaluation.
Yeah, again, I know what you're saying, but if it's somebody that can repeatedly do it, they're going to know what to say. I mean, I've been on the regional council for how long now? Under 10 years. We know what they say, the same thing, That's the way it is, and they'll do that, But I'm voting for the project, and I think it's a good thing, I just want to make sure that, next month we don't have 3 other guys moving in floors at the Seneca Tower, and wanting the same thing, that's all.
Hello?
Hello,
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
is that you, Smith?
Yes, I've been trying for a long time to jump in here. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on.
You got to pay your internet and your cell phone bills more timely.
Well, we have files. You can't get much higher than that.
Okay, so
Paul, let me add, this is not a precedent. We've followed the same model with Campus Labs on Main Street. The money goes to the applicant, not to the developer. There's no precedent, as Tony indicated. We're going to look at these projects on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, but the campus one, how many floors was that building?
Well, there's multiple floors on that building. The Campus Labs occupies, I think, 2 or 3 floors.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I got to tell you, I'm voting for it, like I said, but I wouldn't be surprised if this guy. Oh, whatever. Okay. Obviously, my point is not getting across, but that's okay.
I think your point is getting across, and I think your concern is well placed. But I also believe that the members of the board who have heard you and yourself are going to be diligent in applying a reasonable analysis of each application as it comes before us. We're not just going to approve it because it happens to be similar to a previous one that we did approve.
Okay.
So with that,
Okay.
Are there any questions about the recommendation of staff? Hearing none, I would ask a motion to adopt staff's recommendation to award $230,000 AI Inc. And I believe
Make
Brenda
that
caught me
motion.
off guard and already made the motion.
Yes,
Do I have a
the
second?
chair. I've made the motion as you stated.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Deanna.
Thank you, Deanna. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Karen, I believe that was unanimous. The next meeting of our board is scheduled for August the 3rd, 2020. And it is my hope that we will likewise be connected via WebEx because I can be socially distant from all of you at that. But I do hope, whether we are or not, that you all remain healthy and that each of your family members likewise remains healthy at this very unprecedented time. Hearing no other business, I would call for a motion to adjourn.
Move by Brenda McDuffie.
So moved by Brent. Seconded by, did I hear Deanna?
Yes, you did.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Everybody have a,
Abstentions? Karen, that would be. Thank you very much, all.
all right.
Stay
Okay.
well.
Thank you and your families, and you stay safe and well, please.
Thank you.